Reading and listening require comprehension. You need to understand what you read or you're listening to. And to understand them better, we have what we call soft skills. Now, these soft skills are so important in language learning and also for learning any subject. And I've highlighted the different skills that the TKT expects you to know. If you're an English teacher, you should teach these skills to your learners. And if you're teaching any other subject, you can take the time to teach this so that students know how to answer exam questions. Because it's with the understanding of language that we can present, we can read, we can write, we can understand, etc. Okay, so our soft skills are scanning. Scanning, I could use my eyes to just scan a text. I'm not reading everything, but I'm just scanning. And what am I looking for when I'm scanning a text? I'm looking for names, numbers, dates, and addresses. If I go to an airport or if I'm driving on the street, I'm not going to be reading everything I see. Let's say I'm looking for Rosemary Street. As I drive, my eyes are scanning maybe the street signs. And every street that starts with R, I look at to see if it's Rosemary. So I'm not reading the rest. If I see one that starts with A, I just move my eyes away. So we scan a lot of the time. You go to buy food in a restaurant, you don't study the menu. You scan based on your need. You may have a budget of maybe 5,000 naira. And so you scan using the numbers, checking the different prices. Anything that's more than 5,000 naira, you're not looking at. Maybe your budget is to buy 2 meals at 1,500 naira each, and then maybe 2 drinks. So you're scanning for all the items by the numbers, by their prices. You can also scan because you're interested in looking for a particular type of meal. Instead of studying the whole menu, you can begin to scan for rice meals or you're scanning for chicken. Okay, so scanning is identifying names, numbers, and dates and addresses. Very important skill for comprehension. But a lot of teachers I've come across teach comprehension by making learners to read every single text. No, that's wrong. If you teach your learners that way, to read every single text, you're slowing them down. Because if you have maybe 300 words in a text, and your question is, who said so and so? Then all the learner needs to do is scan through the text for every single name. The first name they see, they read around that place. And if that's where the so and so is, they'll get the answer without reading the text. In what year was maybe Mongo Park born? You look for the name Mongo Park. You just take the name and you start scanning for his name throughout the text. And once you see his name occur, you check to see if there's a number. If it's not there, you scan the text again. You're not reading. You get to where you see his name again. You start reading around that area and you see Mongo Park was born in so and so. That is a scanning skill. It's a good technique to use in exams. Very good technique to use in IELTS exams. We don't read all the text in IELTS exams because we wouldn't be able to finish the exam if we read. So we scan. Then we skim. That's another soft skill for reading or listening. So when I'm listening and somebody's talking to me and I'm quite busy, or maybe I'm distracted, or I don't want to listen to everything they're saying, I'm just picking the important information. So John came yesterday. He bought 3 chickens. So I will pick the most important information because I need very important information. So scanning can pick that. Skimming is another technique. It's reading for global understanding or listening for global understanding, or to get a sense of the text, or to get an idea of what is being said. So maybe 2 women are discussing in my backyard. I'm not really listening to them, but I can hear them discussing. If you ask me what they're talking about, I'll tell you, they're talking about their child. That is skimming. Another word is listening or reading for gist, to get a gist, the gist or the sense of what is being said. So we use that skill when we are identifying, when we're trying to identify maybe the beginning or the middle or the end or the conclusion of something, okay, we're not we're not looking for numbers and dates, but we're just listening for a sense to capture what is being said, or reading to capture what is being said. It is the skill that you use or you test when you ask the student to read the text and give it a topic, or is the skill you use for summarizing a text. You don't need to do intensive reading to summarize a text. So teach them how to skim, teach them how to do intensive reading. Intensive reading is required only when you are looking for certain key information that is not easy to find by scanning or by skimming. So I teach my learners to read every exam question intensively, small pieces of information, but you need to read it intensively because, like the question I asked earlier, I said, one of these items is wrong. And somebody took the correct one and said it was wrong. She didn't do intensive reading of that little text. So she probably knows the answer, but she missed it because she misunderstood it. So intensive reading is doing detailed reading. So if we have a huge text, you scan for information, you can skim. But if you want to get key information at a particular point, you search, you can scan for the information you're looking for. When you get there, you begin to read intensively. We use that skill to read in between the lines, or to get an idea, to draw inference. What is he actually saying? Okay. Then we have extensive reading. It's a skill for reading far and wide, or listening, widely. Then there's deducing meaning from a text, working out its meaning from an unknown word in the text. So if a learner, English teachers, please remember this. We teach young learners that when you're reading and you don't understand a big word in the sentence or in the text, read around it. The other words give you a clue, and because of the structure of the sentence, you could tell that this word actually means so and so. So we can deduce meaning from the text by reading and understanding the words or the context in which it is spoken, or the paragraph. You go from the word level to the sentence level, to the paragraph level, to deduce meaning from the text. So that's a technique we need also in exams. I mean, I'm talking about exams because exams are quite important to some of us here. In our context, they're so important. We want to prepare our children for the future. Okay, so we need to teach them how to read for meaning, how to find detailed information, how to quickly find important information, how to capture what a text is saying very quickly. We can also read because we want to understand text structure, to identify, to understand certain texts, how certain texts develop. We can also infer, trying to work out the opinion of the writer. That's another thing we ask. Read this text and summarize the opinion of the writer. And for speaking, read the text, listen to the conversation. Can you capture the attitude of the writer or the opinion of the writer by just listening? Because in listening, we can also identify tone, which is in writing and in speaking. Our tone, is a tone formal? Is it rude? Is it kind? So these are so many important aspects of what we can do. So we can also look for clues, to guess what the text might be. All right, so that's something we can do. I can't see that part of my slide, the main word, but I think you can see it. All right, so let's continue. What's the difference, the basic difference between listening and reading? Since both of them are producing language, I'm writing, I'm producing language, I'm speaking, and I'm producing language. What's the difference?